lightning has broken, and we are your consecrated hosts. Father Jeff, consecrated by holy orders.
Jonathan, consecrated by baptism.
Jonathan, you're all bundled up.
We knew this day would come.
Winter, well, and I think we're slightly on the upper end of normal.
I have been spoiled this fall.
Yeah,
we're still in
really
fall.
Nice. It is still fall. Although technically I think we are now into meteorological winter. I don't know what the difference between that is and winter is, but...
I asked Siri when winter was coming, and she said December 21st.
Well, that is when technical winter comes.
Correct.
That's astronomical winter. I don't know what meteorological winter is, but apparently we're there.
I've been spoiled. We've had 70-degree days here.
It's been nice.
I mean, it's
even
in the mid-50s.
I looked ahead to the 10-day or 2-week forecast, and they're talking about, upper 40s, mid-50s. This is going to be a mild December, it looks like.
Yeah, I can't really complain.
Which only means that it's going to hit us in February.
Why do you talk like that? Why? There's not even a reason for that.
Maybe it is my optimism?
That's not optimism. You've got connections with the big guy. I need all the help I can
get. But if
get.
it's going to be winter, I want some snow. I want some snow in December. There should be snow. As soon as December 1st, you flip the calendar over and you pin it up there, the snow should start falling.
What is wrong with you?
I just think December should be snow. Because it's Christmas, and I want Christmas snow.
I like my 48 degrees.
I don't know. There's something that feels wrong about that. We're not living in Texas, Jonathan. We're not. I know some of you are, maybe.
Very clearly not living in Texas, because there would be like 68 degrees and sunny.
Well, yeah, they've been having
on a cold day.
They've been having a cold snap.
They have. It's gotten down into the 50s.
I know. It's like even into the 30s at night.
At night in the 30s. Yeah,
some frost warnings there throughout Texas. So, you know what? Yeah, it's been what it's been. We're not in the Great Lakes states where snow is falling, but. Hopefully all is well. We're now we're solidly into Advent. We're a couple days in. We got our feet planted firmly on the ground, and we're moving forward.
Yeah.
Anything exciting going on in your life?
No. Just getting things ready to kick off with all the things in the parish. People are getting a letter this week, maybe from you, either late this week or early next week.
Yeah, we've got some things. We've got a lot of things going on. It's amazing how busy everything got all of a sudden.
It just got
It's amazing how busy.
That's where your snowballs came in.
Exactly. The fall rolled around and everything started up. Even as things pull back maybe a little bit for pandemic reasons, there nevertheless is still an activity and a busyness. So
yeah. We've got another retreat meeting tonight. So if you haven't registered for the retreat, or if you haven't told your friends about the retreat.
Our parish retreat, the Quo Vadis retreat, January 15th and 16th. It's a Friday night, and then a Saturday throughout the day. You don't have to spend the night, so don't you go worrying about that. We've got food for you. Hopefully the weather will be decent that we can host that. Last year we had the problem. I think it was the winter retreat last year that...
I came in all happy and jolly that Friday, and then Father Jeff canceled it.
A whole year ago already.
It was going to be really bad, icy weather. So
we maybe could have done it, but it was a little icy. So yeah,
it was a little
better
sketchy.
Safe than sorry. A little sketchy. Always better to be safe than sorry. Yeah. Well, I don't have anything exciting going on right now either. So let's get to our Jesse tree.
Jesse tree.
So yesterday we had the birth of life, the creation of the world, the crowning of man and woman as the ultimate crowning glory of God's creation. And just once again, there aren't like this day has to be this meditation or this ornament on your Jesse tree or whatever, because there's lots of different versions in the way you pick and choose from the Old Testament and the New Testament. We just went through and pulled out several ornaments that made sense.
Yeah.
Today, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Unless
there's a snake wrapped around it. Today's meditation is on Adam and Eve and their choice to disobey God's call. So when we talk about the 4 principal pillars or proclamations wrapped into the kerygma, God created the world in love.
We were created for a relationship, and then
we did that. We sinned.
Yes.
He sent his son, Jesus Christ, to save us.
Now we have to accept it.
So those are the 4 steps of, the gospel, the believing in God. So this is like really step 2, or not step, but part 2 of the kerygma, the basic preaching of the gospel, that humanity did not live up to what we were supposed to. And the proverbial fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now that sounds like that's something you would want to eat from.
Mm-hmm.
That you would want to eat from you would want to know good and evil. Doesn't that sound like a good?
I mean, you'd want to know what is right and what is wrong.
But there's a difference between knowing what is right and what is wrong, and then that's where the tempter kind of spun his tail, as it were, because it was the knowledge of good and of evil. Mm-hmm. So it's like intimately knowing, not knowing about, but knowing good and knowing evil.
Yeah, in simplified forms, I mean, it's a long discussion. You could have, there are probably classes just on the fall.
Probably.
But it's when Adam and Eve decided to do that, they decided they wanted to choose for themselves what was good, what was evil.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like God had already defined good. He is good. They were already in a relationship with God, and he chose not to, they chose not to want what God wanted and what God desired. It was heavy. It was a heavy burden.
That is a heavy burden.
It's a heavy burden. All the world's sin. Jonathan, you can't lift that up. So that is the reality of that desire. It is the desire really to be God. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to define what's right or wrong. I want to define what's good or evil. That's what I want to do. And that's, and in many ways, that's the moral state of things today, that even when we have the gospel, and even when Jesus Christ has clearly defined what is the path to salvation, and the scriptures lay it out, and the tradition of the church has been solid, there are many Christians today who want to redefine that, and want to retell the story, and want to change what is good and what is evil.
Well, every time we sin, we're doing the exact same thing.
Every one of us do that.
It's just like...
Or we know it's wrong and we choose it anyway. There's really 2 parts of sin. Either we say that this is not wrong, or we say, well, this is wrong, but I don't care. So, neither one of those is really a great thing.
No, when you put it that way, Father Jeff, way to take all the fun out of it.
But the original sin, we can't pin it all on Adam and Eve, because every one of us, as you say, participates in that sin in some way, that by our own personal choices. Mm-hmm. So Adam and Eve, they commit this sin, and the fall happens. But God doesn't want us to stay in the fall.
No.
So why would we commemorate the fall on our Jesse tree? Because immediately attached, so this happens in Genesis chapter 3, is the fall from grace. And immediately after the fall, when God, he speaks first to Adam, he speaks to Eve of the consequences of their act, and then he speaks to the evil one, to the serpent, and he gives us the first promise of the Savior. And we call that the proto-evangelium, or the pro-gospel, the proto-gospel, mm-hmm. the first telling of the good news. So the scriptures, as you know, he says to the evil one that on your belly you shall crawl, dirt shall you eat, and your offspring and the offspring of woman will be at enmity with one another. And you shall strike at the heel, and he will crush your head. And so it's really that prediction that the offspring of woman will one day be the one to put an end to the tempter's bite.
Yeah.
I wonder who that could be. not Jonathan.
No.
Jesus Christ. I'll give you a hint.
Did you want me to answer that?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know it's still Advent, and we don't want to give away the end of the story.
But
I
thought you were.
So Adam and Eve, our little reflection for today. Once again, The Jesse Tree by Raymond and Georgine Anderson, Fortress Press, 1966. A person must live, goes the popular dodge by which we often try to justify our worst actions. Self-centeredness, self-defense, self-preservation. This is the root of sin in all its forms. From the beginning of human existence, this was so, causing people to exalt their own will above God's will. But sin makes us more beast-like than God-like. It binds us to the earth when we are capable of heaven. We pray for our foolish thoughts and desires, for words spoken in haste and passion, for our failures and self-control. Forgive us, Lord, and help us to mend our ways. I like that telling of the idea that sin makes us less human, that it makes us more beast-like, because we just follow our gut and our passions and our instincts, and that's exactly what animals do. Animals don't know right from wrong. They don't know what's good, and they just do whatever their instincts or their feelings are. So if that's the way we live our lives, well, we're not like God. We're more like an animal now.
Yeah, I guess because one of the things that sets humans apart is the ability to reason, and
Yes.
the only reason we would sin is because of a lack of reason. If you could look at it, take all elements away,
Yep.
and say good, bad, you would always choose the good. However,
It's more reasonable.
you're like, well, I want that extra piece of dessert, even
Again,
though I'm stuffed.
The feel.
The feel.
What am I feeling? What are my passions? What are my desires?
Oh.
So we always have to crown our passions with our power of reason. That everything has to submit to our reason, which has to submit to the will of God. That's what makes us holy. That's why Mary, the Virgin Mary, was the most human, as it were, of all of created humanity, because she chose never to sin, and therefore wasn't lowered to the level of beasts, but rather was always raised to the dignity of what God calls us to be. So it makes sense that when her earthly life ended, she was just assumed into heaven, because she was God-like. She wasn't a god, she wasn't a goddess, but she was the most God-like, because she was what God intended her to be.
The fullness of the image and likeness of God.
Exactly. And that's really our journey for Advent, that we want to be more human so that we are more divine.
Yeah,
The mystery of the human and divine.
I tend to take things to the extreme sometimes, especially in my faith. But even the smallest bit of sin, whether it be gossip or taking that extra bit of candy or sweets, a little bit of gluttony there, that the pain, if it is indeed gluttony, sometimes it's okay to have a little extra.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
within reason. But the pain of the sin, if we actually cross over the line into sin, the pain of that sin is far worse than the greatest pain that we will experience here. Like, the eternal pain of that is worse than whatever human thing that we are avoiding.
Yeah. Whatever earthly pain, earthly trial, difficulty, temptation, because that's usually what prompts us into sin. There's something we're escaping from. The 7 deadly sins, I think I've often described as, in many ways, those are self-defense mechanisms that go awry. So if you think of those 7 deadly sins, wrath and anger and sloth and pride and lust and envy and gluttony, That those 7, it spells wasp leg, by the way. That's how you can easily just take them right. I was like, wow, Father, you knew those 7 deadly sins right off the top of your head. I'm very intimately knowledgeful of those things. But no, they spell wasp leg when you take the first letter of each one. But in fact, no, I messed it up because it's wrath, not anger again. Those are both the same things. Avarice, which is greed. Yeah, so the wasps, 7 deadly sins: wrath, avarice, sloth, pride, lust, envy, gluttony. There they are. Those are the 7 deadly sins. But we usually lean into one of those sins. We choose one of those great sins because it promises to protect that thing that was broken within us because of original sin. So that's kind of the irony, that original sin has broken something in humanity. And so the humanity that we all inherit from our parents and their parents and so on and so forth is going to be a broken, disordered, tainted humanity in some way. You are not everything that God intended you to be. So, we can say, well, I was just born this way, or that's my nature, or whatever. Well, yes, you were, and it is, but it's not what it should be.
Right.
And that's the reality, that every one of us are going to have inclinations to badness, to sin. Because there's this brokenness now within us, we have to shield it. And we do that in a lot of different ways. And usually it's the 7 deadly sins that promise to shield the brokenness.
Yeah. So you got to fight it with virtue.
That's how you overcome them. Anger wants to push away or destroy to protect me. So I'm going to push you away. I'm going to destroy you. Avarice, greed, it's just, kind of thinking about and wanting all of these things that are going to make me happy that aren't really going to make me happy.
And it's using those things to make you happy.
The other gods. They really kind of become other gods. Sloth, it's kind of that, you enter into that depression sort of thing where I'm just not going to do anything. I'm going to retreat. It's really a retreating from dealing with things that need to be dealt with. And then sitting at the center of them all, pride. That might be the original sin.
That very well could. Because I think any of the other ones kind of come back to pride.
And when you think about why Adam and Eve sinned, if, like you said, they wanted to be God, they wanted to have I want to decide what's right or wrong, I am that all-knowing and all-powerful, well, that's pride.
And say with Lucifer.
It's the same thing. It's the pride of Lucifer, that he could not submit to the will of God. He wanted his own will. So pride. Lust, if I satisfy my body, well, and then obviously my soul is going to be satisfied. Isn't that the way it works? Not envy. Yeah, envy. Envy. That it's like a jealousy, that it's a hatred for the blessings and goodness in others. That I can't rejoice for the fact that you have something good or you have a blessing because I want it too and I don't have it. And so you know how that misery loves company sort of thing, that I can just sit there and stew in my distaste and, it promises to make me feel good and protect me. And then finally, gluttony, which you've spoken about much today, Jonathan, eating all that candy. You still have Halloween candy sitting around?
Oh my gosh, we have so much Halloween candy. But I don't eat any of it.
At some point, into the trash it goes.
It's going to have to. I don't know how we're going to get it away from the kids. They don't have access to it.
It just automatically disappears.
They get like one. The problem is they get one piece of candy a day.
Oh, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. However, that means with one Halloween day, they have candy pretty much for the rest of the year.
That's true. You get a lot of candy. Well, you got to throw all the junky candy away. Not that there's
all the Snickers.
Not that there isn't any wholesome candy out there, but that's every once in a while. So the 7 deadly sins. I didn't think that's what we were going to be covering today, Jonathan,
No.
but it probably is a good meditation in this Advent season, that when we think about why are we looking forward to our Savior, why are we looking forward to Christ's coming, it's because
if it wasn't
we
for
were
that,
broken.
we wouldn't need Jesus.
You're broken, Jonathan.
Yeah, I
You
know.
are messed up, and you need saving.
Amen.
I guess I do too. It's a
You
thing.
guess you do too.
It's a thing. We do. That's why the Advent season, we start in darkness and we move towards the light, because it really is a reminder that it is Christ who is going to save us from our sins and lift us up out of... He's the only one that can change the story. Kiddingly holding that apple very, very heavy. But yeah, you can't do that. It's not yours alone.
And it's always depicted as an apple. Poor little apple. It gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
Because it's never actually defined what kind of fruit.
That's right, because it's probably a metaphorical fruit. Good and evil do not reside in a terrestrial plant.
Yeah, can you imagine if it was? I mean, then there would not be any more apples.
Everybody would have snapped those up. Yeah. In fact, many of the ancient portrayals of, just to show you where human thinking on this has gone, ancient portrayals of the Garden of Eden do not portray an apple, they portray a pomegranate. That a pomegranate would have been more a common of a fruit in that ancient part of the world, but also the pomegranate was a symbol of lust and sexual desire. That it, and so it was kind of like that original sin is that, rebelling against the spiritual. Like, I don't want your spiritual good, God. I want this earthly paradise, and I just want to sink into the earthly paradise and the earthly pleasure. So the pomegranate was often used as a sign of that. Little did they know that it had great antioxidant properties and was really good for you. It was a superfood. An apple, I don't think, is so much a superfood. But there's a little arsenic in those apple seeds. If you ate enough apple seeds, you would die. Are you one of those people that eat the whole core and all? Sometimes I do.
I recently got a spiralizer. So you stick the apple on this thing, and then you go, and it decores it and peels it.
An apple peeler?
Well, that spiralize, it makes it a huge spiral, like a big...
it peels the apple. Like a spiralizer is when you take your zucchini and stick it in that thing, and it cuts the zucchini into a spiral. So you. Well,
my apple is one big piece, but it's a big curly fry.
But just the skin is.
No.
The whole apple?
The whole apple. And the skin is gone.
Well, you go too far. You're only supposed to peel it.
No, because as it decores it...
It also...
There's a thing that cuts it like that, yeah. It's fancy.
Well, look at that. Is that for all your apple pie making?
For apple crisp.
You don't do apple pie?
No, and my wife makes the apple crisp. There's a secret ingredient.
Apple crisp is the easy way of making apple pie.
The crust,
I make apple crisp, but apple pie is the crust. I can't get the crust right.
The crust is that's a battle I don't want to deal with.
I've never really been taught how to do the apple pie crust. And I know there's a lot of tricks, and things to make it happen, and I've tried. Maybe I just haven't tried hard enough. I think that's a heresy, but that's okay.
For good apple pie, I just go to Wheatfields.
The Village Baker, isn't that in the frozen section in the store? There are these pies they're from the Village Baker. It's from a little town here in Nebraska, and they now sell them, across the country and worldwide. They are the best. If you want your friends to think you made that pie, it is like a homemade pie that is then flash frozen, and you can get them in the bakery, and you bake them, and they are the best things.
So in the frozen baked section.
In the frozen section, like where you would buy your Mrs. Smith's pie or your whatever. Marie Callender's. Yeah, those are nothing in comparison with the Village Baker pies. They're like in a white cardboard box, nothing fancy schmancy about them, but boy are they good. Peach raspberry is one of my favorites, or black cherry.
Oh.
But they have apple. I've never had the apple one there, but good pies. Look them up on the internet too. They're there.
The Village Baker.
The Village Baker. I'm giving you a plug. All right, Jonathan. We've now slipped into promotionalism. It is time to head on to our day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Adios.
Bye-bye.